Hello! Welcome back to It's What I Do. Today we're going to continue with the van service, and in particular gearbox oil. Now this is going to be a bit of a fiddly job, so should be interesting. Okay, let's get on with it. Right, as always, before we start any jobs, we read the workshop manual and go through the relevant points on it, and this is the section that I'm looking at. First thing I've got to do is identify where the plugs are, so we need to identify the drain plug and the filler plug. So let's have a quick look at that and see whether we can see those. Okay, the gearbox drain plug is there. It's quite a long way back under the engine. So that's where we've got to drain the oil. And then the filler plug is somewhere there. Don't know if you can see because it'll be a bit dark under there. Let's see if I can get you some light on it. 1 second. Okay, there's the drain plug, the filler plug, sorry. That works as a filler plug and level. Okay. So we've identified those. Okay, looking at where the filler plug is, I think I might be able to gain more access if I remove the near side front wheel. So I'm going to do that and then remove the plastic covering inside and see whether we get a bit better access to the filler plug and level plug. So I'll do that and then show you whether we get more access or not. I'm pretty sure you all know how to take a wheel off, but for those of you that haven't done it, I'll quickly run through it. So, exposing the wheel nuts, we get the correct size socket, and all we need to do before we've jacked the car up at all, so the weight's still on the vehicle, we just need to crack these off. So, undoing them, we just loosen them slightly. Not much. And we should do these in star pattern. They're just loosened off. Now we can jack the vehicle up. Using a nice strong jack, we find a decent place under there to jack. And jack the wheel. I want to reposition that slightly so that I can get my axle standing there. Just move you back a little bit. Oh, there we go. Right, once we've got the jack steady, what we need to do is block the rear wheels, stop it from moving. Okay, so that's all it is, just a brick underneath the back wheel. Just helps to stop it moving, just in case the brake fails. So we keep jacking. Right, that's as far as we need to go once the wheel's off the ground. Okay, once it's up that far, what we do, get an axle stand. And we get that into a position so that it will catch it if the jack fails, because you don't want a vehicle dropping on you. I know a lot of people will work just on a jack, but it's not a good idea. And these are hydraulic jacks and the seals can go on them. So where you can, put an axle stand or something underneath to stop the vehicle dropping on you. So once that's off, we just spin these off. Okay, so what we've got under here is this panel here, and I think if I remove this, I think I should be able to get to the drain plug a lot easier, which is just up there somewhere. Sorry, the fill plug, not the drain plug. So I'm going to take that off and have a look, see whether it makes life a little bit easier. Right, so by removing that plastic panel, this thing, yeah, we can now see the level plug, the fill and level plug there, and it should give us easier access to actually reach to it as well, providing the hoses are long enough on the oil fillers. You'll see that in a minute. So what I'm going to do first is just see if I can crack that open, and then we'll undo the drain plug. We'll check the vehicle's level first, because the vehicle's got to be level to drain properly, and then we'll have a look at that. Right, so the level plug, bit of a silly idea, but it's a nylon plug. I don't know why they never put a metal one in there, but still. They can be a little bit tight to undo by hand. So if you get an adjustable spanner, put it to either side of those pegs, and then use that to lever it, you can get it loose. And that's all we want to do at the moment, just loosen it. And that'll allow some air to go in when we're draining the oil. So now let's get ready to drain the oil. Okay, so I've got my drain can there, which you've seen. You saw that in the video of me changing the engine oil. So what we've got to do is get that underneath the drain plug, and then remove the plug. Same sort of idea as we did with the engine oil. The workshop manual recommends we warm the engine first, so I have taken this for a drive. I've left it about 10-15 minutes afterwards, so that it cools down enough for me to safely remove the plug without burning myself. So we'll get on with that and drain the oil. Right, so it's the same size adapter as the engine oil drain. It's an 8mm square adapter. So we just crack that off like so. And then we can position that underneath and undo that. Coming out a bit fast. Looks like we'll have a little bit of clean up to do afterwards. Okay, we'll just leave that to drain. Give that a few minutes. Okay, something that's a little bit strange on this one. Taking the drain plug out and I've cleaned it. You can see there. Normally on a gearbox you have a magnet on the end of the drain plug, actually fixed to the drain plug, because they don't have a filter in the gearbox, and the magnet just collects any particles of iron from like wear on the gears. But this hasn't got one, which makes me suspect that somebody's changed it in the past. But that's all I've got, so that's what we'll have to use. So I have got a new washer now, so we'll fit that as well. So now that the oil's finished draining, we'll just put this back in and torque it back up, same as we did with the engine oil change. As I say, I'll leave a link up there for that video, so you can go back and watch that if you want. So we'll get that on, torque it up, and then we'll start the refilling process. Right, so the bottles of oil, let me see, there you go, the bottles of oil. The tops on these have like a neck, if you like, that you pull out. See if I can wedge this between my legs and do it. Oh, not easy to do one-handed. So they pull out like that, so it gives you a little bit of a neck to use to insert into the hole. And then we unscrew the top like so, and we've got a little ring pull in there that seals the actual oil. I'll have to put it down for a second. Yeah, like so. Now this is the awkward part, because we've got to get the oil into there without obviously spilling it and pouring it everywhere. So this is fairly awkward. Would have been a lot more difficult if I hadn't taken that panel out, which, as I say, the workshop manual doesn't tell you to do that, but sometimes you just have to look and work these things out for yourself on the best ways of doing it. So right, let's see if I can set you up so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, another little stupid problem that we've come across. The actual filler plug is too wide, it's too small for the neck of the oil can, which is a bit stupid. So what I've had to do is jerry rig an adapter. So I've got, let's show you, I've got the oil can, the normal neck of the oil can. I've got some airline that I'm going to be using on a different project, so a small piece of that, and some electrical shrink wrap to make the adapter. So that fits nicely into the hole, and I can proceed with filling it up. And all I'll do is, when I change the bottle of oil, I'll change the top completely and use this one on another bottle of oil. So that'll work. Obviously if you haven't got that, then you're going to have to use either a funnel or try and do it with a little jug, and that is going to be really awkward. So yeah, not a good design. Not a good design by any stretch of the imagination, but got to work with what you've got, I suppose. So right, let's start filling up. Okay, we'll try and do this without knocking the camera out of the way. So to get that in there, I'm going to put it in upside down first and push it into the hole, and then we can turn it up the right way so that the oil drains out of the can. You can help it along just by giving it a little squeeze. Now we know that it's 2.7 litres in here. So that's one emptied. And so this time what we'll do, I'm going to take the top completely off and change it for the one that I've made the adapter on. If I wanted this to flow a little bit easier, I could make a little pinhole in the top to allow the oil in, air in, sorry, as it's flowing out. But it's not too terrible, just pumping it in like that. The only thing is you won't get every little last drop out of the can, but you'll get enough. So let's put this one in. Again, put it in upside down first and then spin it over, and then just give it gentle squeezes. You should be able to hear it glugging in. So that's another one emptied. Just give that a second, and then we'll pull that out. Okay, as I said, you're going to get a little bit of oil left in these, so what I'll do is just pour that into the new can, the final can. So we'll just pour that in there. So waste not, want not. And there should be enough room in there for what's left in that one. Okay, put our little made up adapter on top. Now this one we need to be a little bit more careful with, because we're gonna fill it up and it's gonna start coming back out the hole. So let's put our oil can underneath to try and save it, and then we'll again start filling that up. Let's have a look. Not there yet. It's still not there. Right, about half. So about 400 mils we've used so far, so it's not quite half a litre. I'm going to check the level of the van because I didn't do that, and we need it level while we're filling it. So I'm going to check the level of the van before I fill up any more of that, and we'll see where we stand. So back in a sec. Okay, so I've checked the level of the van, and the van's pretty level. It's a fraction low on the front end, but not enough to worry. So I'm going to carry on filling the oil. And we're getting close. There you go, you can see the oil starting to run back out. Can you see that? You see there, the oil's running back out, so that's full. We'll just let that settle for a minute. And then we've got our fill plug, and what I'm going to do is put a little bit of oil around the rubber. You are supposed to change these when you take them out, but the car spare shop didn't have one, so hey ho. Do as always, make do with what we've got. So we put a bit of oil around there to lubricate it. A bit of oil around the thread, and then we'll screw that in. Got to be careful you don't cross thread these, because as I say, they're nylon, that they'll you'll knacker them very easily. Right, these just need to be finger tight, don't overdo them. That should be enough. Dry off the oil underneath. And that's the engine oil, the gearbox oil done. So that's part 2, gearbox oil drained and replaced. And we even had to make a little adapter for it. All good. The old oil we'll put into the same cans as we used for the engine oil, and we'll dispose of that at the same time down the local amenities. So we'll start putting it back together again. Just a reverse process of what I did, putting this panel back and such like. So you don't need to see that, I don't think.